Another trade that went down that was puzzling, Kristaps Porzingis for Spencer Dinwiddie and Bertans. I'll just say this. All you can really take from this trade is that Luka wanted Kristaps the fuck out. That's all you need to know. Like, he's like, I'll take another guy that'll shoot corner threes. That's fine. I don't care that he's a shell of himself. I'll get him the ball in his spots. I'll make sure he's comfortable. And in terms of Spencer Dinwiddie, let him and Mark Cuban talk NFTs. And, like, they can chill. He can sit in the middle of the bench for all I care. He can be my backup. He can be a backup point guard. He's quite capable of scoring off the bench. We can make him a six-man. I don't care. Let him be an overpaid six-man. Because we got an overpaid big in Kristaps Porzingis. I do not care. A lot of people are calling this a bad trade for Dallas. But you know what? There's an old saying. If mama ain't happy, ain't nobody happy. And in Dallas, if Luka ain't happy, nobody is happy. So that's an interesting trade. Also, Ish Smith comes to Washington for Montrezl Harrell. Charlotte Hornets receive Montrezl Harrell. Washington Wizards receive Ish Smith and Vernon Carey Jr. Interesting move. Interesting move because, quite clearly, owner of the Washington Wizards, Ted Leonsis, has a particular type. I ain't got no type. High character guys are only thing that I like. He wants to build culture in a very specific way. And I don't know what this means. How you want to read into it is up to you. But Montrezl Harrell and his grill and his swag and his moves and his attitude on and off the court do not fit to what Ted Leonsis wants in a player. That is for sure. Same thing with Aaron Holiday. Aaron Holiday walked out the door for cash. We'll get to that trade in a bit. But Phoenix ended up just giving him some skrill, and all of a sudden they let him go. A very capable guard who was a part of a massive trade this offseason and was seen as a lockdown defender, one of the better defenders on that team from the point guard spot. All of a sudden, Phoenix gets him for absolutely nothing. For Charlotte, I love this. Montrezl Harrell is one of my favorite players. Like, one of the best backup bigs. He can play. He was a sixth man of the year, and you just got rid of him because you needed a point guard for Bradley Beal, who was like, okay, Ishmael's okay. He can distribute. He's a fine young player. He's having a good year in Charlotte. Good for Washington. Very, very strange trade. Derrick White for Josh Richardson and Romeo Langford. Boston Celtics receive Derrick White from the San Antonio Spurs. San Antonio Spurs receive Josh Richardson, Romeo Langford, a 2022 first-round pick, top 4 protection. I don't know, man. I don't know. I thought about this a lot. This could go one of two ways. Derrick White could be the panacea, a two-way player, a big-bodied guard who can fit with Marcus Smart, but both of them don't shoot. Derrick White makes a lot of money. I don't know. This is a very interesting trade because you just gave up Boston. Boston just gave up more first-round picks. And they gave up Romeo Langford, who they took very early in the draft quite recently. I'm not quite sold on that. This is what Brad Stevens said. He's been thinking about Derrick White being a fit for a while now. He said, we've thought for years Derrick was a really good fit with our best players. He's an excellent defender. He makes the right play on offense over and over. He's a guy that only cares about winning. He will do all of the little things. Can't quite properly evaluate this yet. I need to see it play out. This is one of those trades where you got rid of Josh Richardson, who was a very capable shooter, for a less capable shooter who could play slightly better defense, who is slightly more expensive. So how do you evaluate that? I don't fucking know. I don't know. Tatum and Brown, do they become spot-up shooters? Because my man Derrick White's not a shooter. And you're one of the worst three-point shooting teams. Your point guard and Marcus Smart couldn't shoot threes, can't shoot threes. Dennis Schroeder, who you got rid of, didn't shoot threes, really. So the hidden bonus, I guess, is that Pritchard, who rarely played the long Schroeder, Peyton Pritchard, point guard out of Oregon, nice kid, gets more minutes. So he gets to expand his role. But believe me, there are potential downsides. Here's what a recent Celtics blogger, who's probably much more in the weeds on this than me, this is what he wrote about this trade. I know I'm right about it, this trade. I will be right 2 games from now, 2 months from now, and 2 years from now. I do not care that we ducked the luxury tax. I do not care that we've collected some trade exceptions. I do care that our current roster is worse and our future outlook is bleak. This was a disaster. Polarizing trade, we'll say. Polarizing trade, we'll say. One that will make or break Brad Stevens as a GM. And I think we'll know quite quickly how this ends up working out. 4-way trade. Boom, boom, boom. Pooh, 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 pooh. Detroit Pistons receive Marvin Bagley III, former second pick in the draft, current bust. LA Clippers receive Rodney Hood, Semi Ojeleye. Milwaukee Bucks receive Serge Ibaka, 2022 second-round pick from Detroit, a 2024 second-round pick from Detroit. Sacramento Kings receive Dante DiVincenzo, Josh Jackson, and Trey Lyles. The Kings somehow won this trade. Don't know how, but they did. Getting Dante DiVincenzo, who's probably one of my favorite players in the league, young player, 25 years old, played at Villanova alongside Mikal Bridges. The only reason he's not performing is because he's coming off of a high ankle sprain from the playoffs last year in the Miami Heat series. And that shit, ask me, because I'm going through it as well. High ankle sprains take forever to get healed. Like, you're still not right years later. So Dante DiVincenzo is a slasher. He's a shooter. He can dunk. He can block. He can defend. He is versatile, and he works with almost any roster if he's used properly. And I think with Milwaukee, they haven't been using him well. They're going to have to pay him soon, and they're using Grayson Allen and Pat Connaughton as more of a spot-up shooter, three-point kind of role, instead of a guy who's as versatile as Dante, especially since they have Drew Holiday. So I think that this fits for the Kings, makes them a lot better. Marvin Bagley gets a fresh start, and he's no longer a King, which I'm sure makes Kings fans super happy. Also, the Milwaukee Bucks get a backup center. They get a backup center for Brook Lopez. Brook Lopez has been out all season with a back injury. And so what does that mean for Brook? I think it means that possibly he's had a setback or two. And if he hasn't had a setback or two, maybe they're worried he will have a setback or two, and they've got some insurance for that. And Ibaka's on an expiring, so if it doesn't work out and Ibaka's health is struggles, because he's had his own back issues as well, then they can just let him go for nothing. And Dante was going to be going for nothing anyway, so it's kind of a win-win. And also the Kings get Josh Jackson, who's a nice little piece. Trey Lyles, nice little piece. He's a Kentucky big man who's kind of been a disappointment, but who knows? Get a little value there. So, that's nice. Also, huge trade. Huge trade I need to talk about under the radar. The Suns get Torrey Craig back. Huge move for them moving into the playoff push as they try to go back to the finals. Torrey Craig, as you may remember, one of the better pieces in the rotation off the bench for the Suns in the finals and also in the semifinals. Just an incredible, versatile guy who can play small 5. He can play 4. He can kind of play multiple positions. And they actually got him for nothing last year from the Milwaukee Bucks, funnily enough. And now they get him from the Indiana Pacers for Jalen Smith. They trade their big man, who's been playing great. Indiana also wins in this trade. Indiana, sneaky great trade, the trade deadline. Smith, as a starter, has averaged 17.3 points on 58% shooting and 9.5 rebounds in his 4 starts when DeAndre Ayton or JaVale McGee went down. That is the type of production that you could see in a starter if used correctly, which means to me that the Indiana Pacers might make him a core piece of their roster moving forward. And that also means rut row for a guy like Miles Turner, who the world is wondering, are they going to keep him? Are they going to not keep him? This is what Monty Williams says about Torrey Craig. It gives us some wing depth. He's a guy that we valued last year. We really liked him from the jump. Very tough to trade Jalen, but those are tough calls to make. You get emotionally tied to all of these guys, but we're excited to get Torrey back. Tough decision for us to make, and just a part of what we do. And like I said, the Suns also get Aaron Holiday for nothing. They literally got him for nothing. Another backup guard in case Campaign goes down. In case, my guy Landry Shamet isn't playing well, which has been basically what's been going on, and he's been injured as well. Phoenix Suns are all in on this year. They've increased depth in the center position, and they've increased depth in the guard position. I tell you what, sneaky moves that are getting made on the margins that help them win it big. Let's see what else is here. Dennis Schröder goes to Houston. Dennis Schröder will probably be bought out by Houston if it doesn't, quote-unquote, work out And on top of that, that means most likely that the Lakers will try to get Dennis Schroeder back for nothing in the buyout, which means Dennis Schroeder could potentially be playing for the LA Lakers, where he didn't want to go, for less than $5 million when he turned down $74 million to play for them for 4 years or something like that. That is incredible. Imagine ending up back where you started for a quarter of the amount that you turned down. That is sad. That is sad moves, and now you got to go back with AD, who you didn't like. You got to now play with Russell Westbrook, who you most likely are going to be competing with, LeBron James, who you had friction with, and all the while Magic Johnson's going to be tweeting away about how he always hated you, and now you're back on this team. He told you weren't a winner. You weren't supposed to be back. Amazing. Delicious. For the tea, for the memes, incredible. Incredible.